Okay, so for this week, this is my sound pass 3 days Condor. I guess first let's just listen to it.
Wow. So much going on there, so much detail.
Yes, very, very intense scene.
Where do you even start when you look at a scene like this?
I started with the footsteps you can see right here. Then I moved to the grunt sounds just to give it a little vocalization. And then that's when I got into the details, like the cloth of the couch moving around when he actually hits the table.
There like so many footsteps and hits and punches and stuff. How did you make sure you had a variety of all those things so nothing got repetitive?
So that's a good question. Basically, we have a huge sound library. So when I would go to look for wood footsteps and then find basically a shoot that I thought matched, I gave both of them different sounds. Since the one guy is wearing like a postalman outfit, I assumed that he's going to be wearing like a harder sole, kind of a nicer shoe. So I wouldn't give him sneaker, but I would go for a hard sole. Already that sounds great. Sounds like he's right on top of the wood. Basically just assigned it all to one trigger. Now I've got all of these sounds that'll work for him. And then for the main character, Robert Redford here, I used a sneaker because I could tell he was wearing some sort of sneakers. Then just assigned all of his sounds to the second trigger, and then just played the thing slow-mo, went through 1 and 2 the entire way.
Kind of like your left hand is one character and your right hand is the other character.
Exactly, yes.
Clearly a lot of time spent on Foley. What about the sound design?
There's a ton of sound design. If it sounded like there was music in there, were just sound design elements that I layered to sound like music. Because it's an older film, definitely honoring the 70s style. So the music wouldn't be like a modern action sound. And I wanted to try to keep up with that. The challenge was if I were to go with older music, it kind of got in the way of all the Foley because silence itself is very anxiety inducing.
I was wondering what that shaking sound was.
Yeah.
That's in the sound design.
Yes, really wanted to get to that part to show you how these are kind of percussive and pulsing sound design elements. So there was it's like a wind chime that kind of spins around through the stereo spectrum, as well as there's a shaker going back and forth. Those kind of just add tension, while you have the other drones here, just low pulses. Adds a lot to the anxiety of the whole scene. And then just layered with well-placed rises.
Why do you know where there's going to be the rises?
So the rises are build-ups to the big hits. This part of it is where they bring down the tension. They're just in a face-off, just breathing heavily. Right when they go back to the tension, to the fighting, to really give it the extra push it needs, I gave it a riser to build up into a hit. And then the hits are just those are just the exclamation points throughout the fight. I have just simple transitions to kind of add to some of the flair of the punches, as well as like when he throws the chair, what sound do you give a thrown chair? You give it a whoosh. That's about all you can do for it. And it does add a lot to the scene. And it doesn't even feel out of place, even though that's not a sound that it would make. So you can sneak a lot of these things in and make it more cinematic. What I did know is that I wanted like percussive sound design itself. and thankfully there's a trigger for it through Audio Design Desk. It's just P is a percussive sound, and then it would bring up like one of these things right here, which is the shakers going back and forth right here. Using that as like a base, as I knew I liked that, then I would just hit P again, and then again I would go back into the Shift R menu, see if I can find another sound through here. And then there's also another great trigger that's X, which brings up just textural sound design things. So it's not really percussive, it's not really a pitch, it's just kind of somewhere in between. Those were very helpful as well to just kind of layer on top of it. That's where I got the wind chimes that are going back and forth.
Did you listen to the original scene?
I did listen to the original scene. This has like 10 times more sounds. So I did have to find like a blend between modern and old, but that's kind of the point of why we're doing like these redesigns, is to bring an old film into the modern era while still honoring its origins.
Looking at this and looking at your approach, it's just a reminder of how you don't need a dozen Foley artists and a whole sound design team and 6 composers and $7 million to do this. You can sit on your computer and use this new tool to create an entire sonic landscape relatively quickly.
Yeah, definitely. This program allowed me to do this entire fight scene at cinematic quality in just a couple hours.
And this is available for people to download right now? It
is available. The website is add.app. Just go to the downloads page, check it out. I believe there is a free version that still has a ton of great libraries for it.
Great. Well, thanks so much. This is really exciting, and it's always fun to see what you're doing and how you're using these tools.
Thank you. Yeah, this is always fun to show it off.